I'm not telling you to take this advice, but do with it what you will. This is something I wish I did if I could go back. For the longest time, whilst I was in school, I thought university was a scam because I was paying so much money, and the whole time I felt like I was teaching myself my entire degree. I thought I'm literally just paying for a piece of paper, which is kind of true, but knowing what I know now and what I'm about to tell you, you can think of it in a different light. Say for the average person living in Canada, for example, because that's where I live, I guess you could take information from this and apply it in an American sense if you're American. But yeah, basically in Canada, how school works, university works, is you can apply for student loans in Canada based on your income. So if you don't make that much money, you can max out your student loans basically and get a really big loan from the government to help you pay for school. Now, a lot of people are against student loans, and I don't know why. Like, I get it, but I don't get it at the same time. It depends. If you're gonna go into a trade or something like that, I think, and you need a certificate or a degree for something specific that you really want to do, yeah, go to school and get that. And if you're gonna be making money from it, and you're gonna be making money from the degree or the certificate that you choose to do, then I would say take out a student loan, because you'll be able to pay that back anyways. Unless you're like super, super, super bad with money and you're so terrible with money, then I don't know why you're even watching this video, because yeah, if you don't have the self-restraint to even like start saving just a little bit or to manage your money, this video is not for you, and school will probably just put you into debt because you'll never be able to pay it off. Student loans, if you're good with money, is not a terrible thing. Now, what I would do is, based on your situation or whatever, I would max out your student loans. Get as much money loaned from the government you possibly can, because guess what? The more money you get in loans from the government, the higher grants they will give you. You'll qualify for more grants. So basically, I think for an undergrad, I'm not too sure about like medical school and your master's and stuff like that, but for your undergrad, you can get $60,000. I think the max is like $60,000 in student loans from the government. Now that doesn't include grants. So with the $60,000, you can get, I think it's $24,000 in grants. What's grants? Free money. But if you didn't apply for $60,000 in student loans, you wouldn't have qualified for the $24,000 in grants. Now, so that's noted. Apply for the maximum student loans that you can, okay? Next, and I'm going to be doing some math during this video so we can actually get the real numbers. They give you disbursements of your student loans every, like before the first semester, so before you start school, and then I think it's after the first semester, and then they'll give you like just continuing for the next 4 years. But at one point, you can also apply for funding for like spring and summer. So like, guys, max out your student loans. Now, no, this is not your money. It is your money, but it's not your money because you do technically have to pay it back. So relax, don't go crazy, and think you're rich and buy a car and a house and all this stuff that you don't need, okay? So after you max out your student loans for whatever you qualify for, you have a year to pay it off. Now, one portion of your student loans, the provincial student loans, depending on where you live in Canada, you have to pay taxes on. But the other portion is completely interest-free. So you don't have to pay interest on that. Guys, do you know what that means? Do you know what that means? Okay, that means you have $25,000 of money that you don't have to pay interest on. Now, that means that if it takes you, 7 years to pay off your student loans, or that portion of the interest-free student loans, by the time you end up paying it off, it's like you only really paid off, I don't know what the rate of inflation is over that 7 years, but basically it's like it was valued at $25,000, but because you took so long to pay it off, it's like you only really spent like $20,000 on the $25,000. Does that make sense? Okay, next. Okay, this is not even the juicy bits. That's not even the purpose of this video. So let's get straight to it. Okay, so when you get that money from your student loans, what I wish I did is I would invest that money into a stock. Okay, that money is going to be sitting for the span of your whole undergrad degree. So like what, 4 or 5 years most people take to do an undergrad, even longer. So you can accumulate wealth on that investment. So I would max out my student loans and then put that into an investment. Even if you did something super light, like an ETF, yeah, it's literally 7 to 10% for a safe investment, okay? What does that mean? Okay, so, and then you have that 1 year that's interest-free on your provincial student loans. So technically you have 5 years of investing essentially, right? After your tuition's paid, and if you max out your student loans, you'll potentially have, okay, like this is the numbers I got, 13,000, but on the safe end, we'll say 10,000, okay? So if you invest your student loans after you pay everything off or pay all your student bills and whatnot, that means that you have $10,000 left over every year that you don't put towards school, and you're living frugal, and you're living frugal. That means you can invest because you get paid in like biannually for your student loans or something. That means you'll have $5,000 twice a year to invest. Okay, so over 5 years, at 7% annually, you will have made $8,000 to $9,000. Guys, if you invest $5,000 biannually from your student loan into a safe stock at 7%, that means after 5 years, before you even have to start paying your student loan back, you can make $8,000 to $9,000. Guys, for literally doing what? Nothing. Your provincial student loan is probably $25,000 if you max it out. So you'll have made, on top of the money you already have, you'll have made $10,000. So guess what? You can pay off the $25,000 and you'll have made $10,000 profit. And then guess what? You can keep going because that other portion of your student loans that has no interest, guess what? You can invest that too and continue to invest. Whatever you make in investments, you can just put it back into the system and it will keep going, okay? This is the best part. You have 9.5 years to pay off your student loan. And your annual payment for your student loan would be like $2,600. Guys, you don't even need to be good at math. Just get AI, which is good at math. The initial value today of $25,000 that you would owe in student loans, well, guess what? The real value in 9.5 years would be $20,700. So that your debt would depreciate by $4,300. So, right, okay, so we started investing your first year. Every year you put in $10,000 from the student loan money into a 7%, which is a safe investment portfolio, a safe ETF. Okay, after 5 years of putting in $10,000 each year, because remember that last year is interest-free, and after those 5 years, you will have made $8,500 for doing literally nothing. Okay, so now it's at the 5-year mark, and okay, the federal or the provincial student loans are knocking at your door and you have to pay them back. So you don't want to be in anything that has interest. You're like, okay, I'm going to pay them back. So from that $58,500 you now have, you withdraw $2,500 to pay off the provincial student loan. So basically you use their money to make money. So now your remaining in that account is $33,500. But wait, you still have $25,000 of that to pay off in Canada student loans, okay? Or in federal student loans. But remember, you only have to pay that portion monthly, and it's like $220 per month. For 9.5 years, you have to pay off that portion of the student loans, okay? And it's interest free, so the depreciation on that makes $25,000 turn into basically $20,000, okay? Now, you say you're broke still after all this, and you're still broke, whatever, because yeah, people are still broke, and you don't have the budget left over because now you're moving out or whatever, for whatever reason, you can't continue investing in that account because you were able to invest in that account because you had all this basically free capital coming into your bank account. Okay. So say you didn't even invest after that for the 9.5 years that you had to pay off the rest of your student loans. Okay. You would make double what you have invested in that account in the 9.5 years that it would take you to pay off your other portion of your student loans. Okay, so after 9.5 years, you would have $63,500 in that account. So you would have made profit $30,000. Guys, and what did I say the value of your student loan was after the 9.5 years? $20,000. Okay, so again, you made $10,000 there for doing literally absolutely nothing. And basically, at the end point of all this is you basically went to school. Thank you for listening. And yeah, sometimes maybe school is not a scam for everybody. Not everybody is the same, obviously. This may not apply to you, but if it does apply to you and you plan to just lead a regular schmegular life, or even not, like 5 years and you make $8,000, and then 10 years and you double that and make $30,000 from the initial investment. Anyways, I hope that made sense. Hopefully y'all were able to follow along. Oh, guys, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial expert. I'm just telling you what I've gathered from my sources. Yep.